jumping into game number 1. So this is a fresh series here, and I'm currently in it. So I'll let you catch up here. You let me know when you're into the game. We'll start talking about it, BKB.
Yeah, I just need to I need to get in the game obviously. I need to get some water as well. So I'll probably be about a minute to 2 minutes, if that's okay. And then
Okay.
I'll join you in a second.
All right. Let me just double check that we got our visuals in the game before I start casting stuff you guys can't hear. Okay, Clantons is already in the game, so we have a fight brewing here in the tier 2 tower here by the Legion side. It looks like Parallax and Tempest just fell, as well as Gladiator. Hopefully we get a break in the action here so I can kind of go over the lineups. But it looks like the two teams will disengage, so now I can have a chance here to kind of cover what's going on. We're 17 minutes into the game here. Legion lineup is Cthulhu Font, Gladiator, Tarot, Monarch, and Demented Shaman. So it looks like we have a single core Tarot here. Well, we'll call it a dual core with the Gladiator, as they have a Cthulhu Font third core there, and the supports being Demented Shaman and Monarch. Then for our Hellborn side, Donkey Kong, we have Parallax and Swiftblade, a dual core lineup coming out. Make it a tri-core actually, as they have a Tempest there. We're gonna actually have a jungler here in this match, and then we have Andromeda and Rinex as the position 4 or position 3 off lane there, and the main support Andromeda. Speaking of him, he's gonna get caught there by the Gladiator and company there. He's gonna fall, but we currently have a 9,000 gold and 10,000 experience lead here for Donkey Kong here on the Hellborn side. So across the board here, if we take a look at the GPM tabs, we have really good farm across the board from Donkey Kong. Majority of the farm here on the Tarot, and speaking of him, he just fell here to the Parallax. Looks like that's going to be a solo kill coming out there with the Earth Shatter. So only with the 1100 HP there, Tarot very vulnerable. You know, even if he activates that Elder Parasite, he's just going to kind of make himself fall a little bit faster. So Parallax feeling very comfortable here with the icon picked up, already level 14. She's got 53 charges there on that Dark Mana, boosting her mana pool by 600 plus. And Tempest, he goes for the Outbones. He's got the Portal key picked up. I have to imagine he's thinking about going into a Shrunken Head at some point here, as that will really guarantee his Elemental Void threat possibilities. We have Swiftblade with a Rune Cleaver and a Frostburn picked up here, as we actually have Andromeda falling once again. They're going to get the counter kill here onto Cthulhu Font. That's going to be used there on the Gladiator. There is the Swift Slashes, but with that call to arms, I believe debuff activated. Gladiator very tanky. We will get the cape from Demented Shaman, but it's not going to be good enough here, as here comes an Elemental Void, blocking the remainder of the heroes down in the team fight. And it looks like we're going to have possibly the Concede Bow come out here. That's going to be a full genocide, as they only lose the Parallax here. So it's not going to go through just yet. I always kind of question those concede votes. I think those shouldn't be thrown out there if you don't plan to really give up.
But sorry to interrupt. Just want to say I'm back in the game. So.
Yeah, so it looks like Donkey Kong's built themselves a pretty sizable lead here, and they're looking like they are kind of controlling these team fights. There's Cthulhu Font ports, and he will go down. But I was kind of looking at the GPM tab here. We have great farm across the board here. Really only Tarot and even Gladiator not doing really the greatest, only a 300 GPM. So great farm across the board here for our Hellborn side. As you know, they have that tri-core kind of thing going on with the Parallax, Swiftblade, and the Tempest here. So you know, falling behind with the single core Tarot, I don't really see too much that they're going to be able to do moving forward to kind of get back into this game. Then they throw the Tempest factor on top of that once he picks up a Shrunken. So it's looking to be pretty hard here for Golden Apple to kind of get back into this one.
I'm just trying to work out what's happened to Legion's draft. I don't know what it's meant to be around. Like, I mean, you've got loads of physical damage, that's okay. But then Hellborn's draft just makes a lot more sense. Yeah. I see a different guy, very renowned Rinex player back in the day. I used to be tormented.
Relax, he's gonna go down here, not gonna get the kills. The support came in to help Gladiator. Meanwhile, we have the Illusory Assault coming in from Rinix there. He's going to get the 1 kill onto Gladiator, who was very low. He's going to get sighted here by Taro, and will he make the escape here? The trample is used here from Cthulhu. Monarch going to take pressure from the Switchblade. Switchblade going to pick up a couple of kills here as the Demented Shaman looking to turn it around here. Rinix does fall. Switchblade holding his ground there with the counter attack, and it looks like he'll be just fine. It's another genocide. Back-to-back team fight genocides coming in for Donkey Kong, as Tempest now has his Shrunken Head completed.
Yeah, just like unfortunate for Taro. He couldn't get the kill on Swiftblade, so that would have been massive because he's on like a big kill streak. It's a 8 kill streak now. I'm just trying to get my head around Legion and what they were trying to achieve. I mean, yes, you've got Demented Shaman and Cthulhu, which I guess was their idea in the suicide lane. You've got Taro and Monarch, which is a very good lane for Taro's farming, and then KRAGIKO. I hope I said that right. KRAGIKO. I imagine he must have gone mid lane. He's gone for Steam Boots, Bottle, Shaman's Headdress, so he's not really going for any damage-based items, but he is going for that defensive build-up into potentially Barrier Idol. So yeah, that's fair enough. But I don't know. I don't see much kind of synergy behind Legion's draft compared to Hellborn's. Like, yeah, you've got some good initiation here and there. You've got some good damage-based heroes, but I don't see what it's trying to achieve. You know, unless you've got any. It
looks almost
any
like
ideas.
They picked kind of for laning phase, having that Cthulhu Demented Shaman combo. But when I take a look at the GPMs, it looks like they didn't really get a whole lot done this game. And then we see a team fight starting here as Monarch did go down. Parallax pops her Void Talisman. Tempest is making his way over, trying to line up that Elemental Void possibly as Switchblade charges in onto Cthulhu, forces that trample out. Rinix jumps in onto the Gladiator, but he is very tanky with that Shaman's Headdress. I don't think he's going to make the escape here, but he did hold his ground for quite some time. And Shrunken Head was used by Tempest, but he did not go for an Elemental Void, as there was more or less a pretty deep fallback coming from the supporting cows there. So you see 2 kills going their way, and the team fight will conclude there.
Yeah, Taro is actually not doing too bad in terms of farm. I didn't notice he is at 400 GPM, so he's gone for the Elders into Firebrand. And also the Brass Snuff Course, which I don't think I've seen on a Taro in a competitive game. And
he's going to get sandwiched here by the whole team. He does get the 1 kill. Actually, he makes it 2 kills onto both the Andromeda and the Grinix. But big picture here, Switchblade, champion in newer streak, coming out for Probusk there, as he has the completed Dawnbringer. It looks like he picked up an Elder Parasite now. He's just got all kinds of luxury items at his disposal now. 630 gold per minute. And Tempest not too far behind him with 585. That's a very farm Tempest BKB. As we're only 24 minutes in, he's working on what looks like to be a Null Stone possibly, with the Sustainer picked up, maybe even a Restoration Stone. Both kind of possibilities there.
Good. Very good.
Following up the Alchemist and the Portal Key Shrunken Head combination, but they get the kill there on the Switchblade. I actually wasn't expecting him to fall there, as he still has a Swift Slashes and Blade Frenzy available.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I missed it completely as well. I'm not sure how he was actually picked off with Legion's heroes and just spin away, can't it? So, yeah.
Not only that, but Tempest didn't try to Elemental Void there at all to kind of prevent that from happening. A little surprised Switchblade dying there with everything available.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised as well. Maybe he's just, I don't know, trying to make the game a bit more interesting. That would be my hope for optimism, especially because Taro's got some late game potential.
Top lane, Tempest's gonna get a solo hole here on the Taro. He gets the portal key to safety before Cthulhu comes in. Now they're looking to turn this one around with Parallax, Brunix, and Andromeda coming from the backside here. Taro, I don't see her getting out of this one. She's gonna get gone on here. Comet Stun followed up by Parallax. Fulcrum jumps there to the to his or Ion dashes to his Fulcrum rather. I said that a little backwards, but you get the picture as they do bring down the Taro there.
Yeah, so one thing I wanted to talk about is Iceland being a very, very good jungler in terms of how he... Oh, there's a bit of action that I missed. I don't know if you saw that.
Goes down there.
Yeah, so when it comes to Iceland, I think I queued about 2 or 3 games back to back with him like about 3 or 4 months ago. And he always amazes me because like he will gank and he'll help out your lane, which is what you want from a jungler. But then he would also farm like 500 GP and plus. And I'm thinking, how does he farm so quickly? Like, even when other players like yourself or other renowned jungle players when they do tend to farm. Sometimes if they gank a bit, their GPM suffers. But with him, like he's literally always 500 GPM plus, and on a Tempest, it's crazy because it's quite rare that you see that. Like I'm sure you've done that quite a few times, and I'm sure you like the outgrown build, but he almost kind of plays it like it's a massive core, something that has to really get that farm to take over the game, which is his way of kind of playing his junglers, I guess.
Yeah, and when I jumped into this game, I looked at Donkey Kong's lineup. I immediately called it a tri-core. I see a Tempest, I always think of late game. I consider Tempest a core hero, and then throw a Parallax with a Switchblade on top of that. And that just screams tri-core to me. Just a lot of farm across the board, but somehow they made it work here. They came out with a big golden XP lead throughout this early to mid-game stages. We kind of missed the first half of the game here, but yeah, you pointed out, big farm on the Tempest. He's almost 600 GPM, and only having the one debt there, as they do have all the outer towers. So a lot of towers going their way. Definitely kind of helping with that factor there. Throw the Alclones on top for some early game GPM. And now he's got a restoration still. Decent too. So really good farm across the board there. Really excited about it.
Yeah, as I say, they're now going towards Congrel, so they're probably going to, I would imagine, try and end the game now. Swiftblade has enough farm. He decided to go to Elder's Parasite, but he does have the token, so even with the negative damage, increased damage taken for the Elders, he'll have a token, so he can play quite aggressively, which is what you want from the Swiftblade.
Yep. We're going to see a jump here onto Taro. There's the crystals from Monarch, kind of preventing some of that damage from the Grinix. They also have the cape from Diminished Shaman, so again, just really trying to protect that Taro. And they even have 2 defensive supports to kind of get the job done there.
Yeah, could be seeing a full-on push now.
Here's a trample following up that pitfall on the Switchblade. Now again, this is the guy with token. Cthulhu, he's going to sacrifice himself. 3-man Elemental Void coming out. That's not going to be stopped. You know what that means, BKB? That's going to be 3 more kills. Making a second or a 5th and final kill as Tempest shows off his restoration stone. Second Elemental Void there. That's going to do it. As Golden Apples had enough here. Too big of a lead coming in from the side of Donkey Kong. So they will take game number 1, I believe, here. I could actually double check that, but I do think that that was game number 1, as this series did get a little bit of a later start due to our very long series there on on our first series. So any final thoughts you want to share, BKB, before we go on a quick break here, get that second lobby going for this second series here?
Not massively, but the only thing I will say is I think Helmut's draft was just a lot better. I think they had an idea behind what they were trying to do. Iceland is very, very good with Tempest. Different guy, very good with Grinix. Someone that I do remember playing very highly with the hero back in the days of high TMM. And I think they just had a much more strong and confident strategy, which is what Legion sort of lacked. It seems like, as you say, they picked their kind of laning phase, and they wanted to kind of have a good early game and see what happened. But it seems like, I think I heard as well that Legion's team, they had 2 ringers because 2 of their players didn't show up. So that could have played a part. But yeah, anyway, we'll see what changes in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we talk about ringers, again, we didn't really cover the beginning half of this game, but I think both teams actually playing with ringers is Donkey Kong. This is not their typical roster. I see a lot of players missing, like HOIME, Bunny Lover, or YUGOBIC is typically their main support, and then JLMCARRYYOU, I think, was also not present. They have a couple of ringers there, so both sides not necessarily playing with their full rosters, but we'll see if any of that changes here for game number 2. We'll go on a quick break, get that lobby going, and we'll be back shortly here with Big Apple, or Golden Apple, sorry, not Big Apple, versus Donkey Kong here. If they win this one, this will conclude the series. If Golden Apple can bring it back here, they'll force a 3rd and final game here in this best of 3. Again, I'm What You Got, rejoined here by BKBnchill here. So BKB, we got into that first game a little late, but ultimately we saw the result, which was Donkey Kong with a solid performance across the board, taking that game number 1. So what do you think we'll see here, possibly in game number 2, to kind of, in hopes, bring that one back and force a 3rd game?
I think when it comes to Donkey Kong, we'll probably see another relatively aggressive lineup. So with game number 1, having heroes like Tempest and Swiftblade just gives you that pressurizing factor where you know you can take team fights, you can push towers, you can do a lot with it. I think they know the enemies they're facing probably aren't as skilled as they are, so they can kind of mix up their heroes perhaps, and try something a bit different in terms of hero laning phases and such. But yeah, I'll hopefully see another jungler come out from Iceland because I think he's just so strong in that role, as we saw the 550 GPM Tempest with
Hmm.
his outbones definitely proved to be very viable. But yeah, in terms of the other team, what's the name, Golden Apple, I'm not too sure what we're going to see. Hopefully a bit more of a strategized draft and something that works a bit more as they go
Yeah.
into a mid game phase.
Okay, so we'll quickly go over the bans here. We got Grinix, Zephyr, and Tempest banned out from Golden Apple. So two of those heroes we saw last game, the Tempest and the Grinix, definitely being response bans here. Then we have the Magmus, Aluna, and Puppet Master banned out from the side of Donkey Kong. So, they're kind of all over the place. We got an initiator support, a carry. I don't know if maybe you want to analyze those a little bit before we get into the picks, but at least from my point of view, a couple respect bans and a couple just heroes that I think they don't want to see being played here.
Yeah, so Puppet Master is the one that stands out. I did want to talk about it in series number one.
Master of Arms.
I wanted to ask you how common is Puppet nowadays? Has it got its place in the meta, or is it still kind of like one of those niche picks which you might pick up from time to time? So, I mean, yeah, I'll let you answer that. Do you think Puppet is a strong hero nowadays?
I think the hero is still relatively good. He kind of does what he does, which he provides a lot of lockdown as a carry. He does deal good damage output, but with some of the more recent patches getting some damage or nerfs to his burst from the Voodoo Puppet, that kind of limits his
Serpentican.
early game capability a little bit. We used to see Puppet Master just really take off in the early game due to his incredible damage output. But now with some of those damage nerfs, he doesn't have the attack speed on his Whiplash anymore. He has that on his ultimate, so he kind of gets that scaling presence a little later into the game, but still does scale very very well. It's just some of those drawbacks in the early game that he's kind of suffered. But still a very solid hero, in my opinion, just not quite what he once was, which was always that very, very scary burst damage carry style hero.
Okay. It's well summed up, and it's definitely explained a few things to me. I like the Balfagor pick. I think if they are going to go for something, it has to be kind of one of those. Okay, guys, we're going to surprise them with this pick and try and make it work. Bensington is quite unique. I haven't seen Bensington for ages. I don't know if it's been changed at all recently. I'm guessing it probably hasn't because it was all
No.
relatively
Yeah.
balanced before. Yeah, yeah, okay. So it'd be good to see how a Bensington ultimate drops onto a Balfagor ultimate. See if they can make that work. Glacius, one of your heroes that you do like to see. I'll be quite
Hmm.
keen to see how that works out in the laning phase and who it decides to lane with. Whether it is a position 1 Bensington or if it is a position 3, perhaps long lane Bensington instead. Legion, obviously we see Ophelia. I'm quite surprised to see that not banned, if I'm honest, against Iceland. If they know the player, he is so good with Ophelia. A very similar Ophelia player to you in terms of how he likes to rotate and everything. So yeah, very strong heroes at the board already. Master of Arms too. And yeah, I'll let you go over the next set of bands.
So we have Electrician and Flux with one more coming up here from Donkey Kong. Deadwood and Prisoner being banned out from Golden Apple. So all of these heroes being those tanky initiators, both teams kind of lacking that pick as well, more so cards revealed from the side of Hellborn. Here's they have 3 picks, but both sides definitely still needing that primary initiator. We have Plague Rider and Predator going to be banned out as the last 2 bans. So that Plague Rider ban, that one's a little bit more specific there, as that kind of targets the Ophelia with that Plague Carrier being able to one-shot those creeps. But the Predator ban, um, they don't want that counter coming into the Balfagor, as he's kind of able to hold his ground with that magic immunity and lifesteal with the Carnivorous against that tanky target. So that one kind of makes a little bit of sense there. But mostly targeting those strength initiators, as pointed out, both teams kind of
Cthulhu
needing one. Cthulhu Font, though, not addressed, and
Midas.
that's one we got a chance to see a lot of in our first series. So we're gonna get to see Cthulhu Font paired up with the Midas here in game 2. So what do you think about those couple of picks BKB coming out?
Yeah, Cthulhu and Midas, I think we saw. I'm sure we saw that lane in one of Big Eagle Crew's games. Was it game 3?
Game 2, I think, with
2.
Shortcan piloting the Midas. He was there for game number 3.
Oh yeah, yeah. So they played Hellborn, didn't they? Yeah, maybe I'm wondering if they saw that lane and thought, okay, guys, this is a very strong lane. Let's give it a go. Or whether they're kind of like going for comfort picks for certain players. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how they utilize it. My guess would probably be the first answer. I think they've kind of seen it on Twitch and thought, okay, this is actually a pretty good lane. I like the synergy with the Ophelia creeps as well. Obviously, you've got the Cthulhu front stun, which is synergizing quite nicely with those. And then on Hellborn, we see Engineer. We do also see the Bombardier. So just going for burst AoE, which is nice because I think it gives them a bit more promise to their draft, and it gives them something that's a bit more, focused on what they want to try and do, as opposed to let's go for good lanes and see how it works out.
So a lot of team fight heroes being built on both sides as we see Golden Apple's lineup complete now. Picking up, as you pointed out, the Engineer and the Bombardier. There are a lot of team fight presence on top of that Balfagor with, the Bensington hoping to come in to the team fight a little bit later on with that Nightfall. But we're going to see the fifth and final pick of the lineup here from Donkey Kong going to be the Sandwraith. And I'm sure you're going to agree with me here in the sense that if you could name the #1 carry hero that I think we've seen Donkey Kong pick up, I think it's safe to say you go with the Sandwraith, BKB.
Yeah, Samwraith or maybe Parallax, but Parallax we saw in game 1, so we don't need to see it in game 2 really.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely with you, Samwraith. I think the reason why they like to use it so much, and you'll probably be able to give a bit more insight on this, but I think just the global factor really helps their play style. I
Mhm.
think they're quite aggressive from the off, and I think they like to have a Samwraith because they know it's so reliable. So yeah, very, very good pickup.
So the Balfagor lineup here going to cause most likely a lot of pushes. Similarly, they have an Ophelia on the lead side. Do you think Sandwraith will struggle in comparison to the Bensington and the Balfagor kind of bringing that aggression early game? Do you think the Sandwraith will be able to kind of combat that aggression? We saw in the earlier series, even just the early game presence from the Deadwood against that Sandwraith lane, catching Sandwraith off several times. Eventually they were able to drag the game long enough where the Sandwraith did end up shining. But do you think there's going to be that window this game for Donkey Kong? With the Sandwraith, or do you think this aggression might be a little bit too much from our Hellborn side?
I think if I'm gonna try and compare player by player, I think Legion should feel okay with Hellborn. I think Hellborn's players themselves, I don't think are gonna have that ability to really make the most of trying to gank that Sandwraith. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner at all. I just think that Legion would have enough experience.
4 players here going to catch out Cthulhu Font. There's the regurgitate from Balfagor. And we're going to get our Bloodlust kill here before the creeps on as Cthulhu Font kind of runs into no man's land here. Actually, it was all 5 players as, 4 players get credit for the kill. But Bloodlust kill going to the Bombardier here, and it looks like that's going to be their mid lane hero, so give it up Bloodlust to the mid. That's going to be a nice advantage that Bomb will have over the Midas here, as that's what it's looking, at least what it's going to shape up. But Bensington and Engineer are going to be combating that Sandwraith Master of Arms lane. We have Master of Arms playing this main support role here with Ophelia in the jungle. And then we have Cthulhu going 1 versus 2 against Balfagor and Glacius. So what do you think about the laning setups from both the two sides?
Legion draft, I think I'd probably give it to them in terms of being better because they have an Ophelia.
Okay.
I think Hellborn's draft is good, but I think it's more focused around once they hit that timing, like that 20 to 25-minute timing, then they're going to take off if they can execute the right team fights. So laning phase, I think Legion are probably slightly stronger. I think Master of Arms and Sandwraith is going to farm absolutely fine against the Bensington, so he's going to pick up his farm relatively safely and efficiently. Mid lane, Midas against the Bombardier. I am in favour of Midas because when it comes to landing a sticky bomb on Midas, you can actually juke it with your Elemental Warp. And if you don't juke it, then it's obviously going to be reduced damage because it doesn't tick for as long. So I've actually played the lane myself. I think I played it about in one of the tournaments many months ago now, and I found that Midas was definitely in advantage of this lane. Top lane, Cthulhu defense should be okay, even though he was bloodlusted. I think he'll be able to survive that kind of harass from Glacius. Balthagor can't do too much to get involved. So yeah, I think Legion probably have a slight advantage in the lane stage.
Okay. Just one thing I want to clarify for you, and I more so want to do it for the viewer's sake, is the sticky bomb. It actually only the longer it charges up, only increases stun duration. It still does the full damage amount whether you blow it up early or not.
Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify that one for the viewers. But
yeah, it's fine.
Bottom lane, we actually have a kill here on the engineer as Ophelia making her presence felt already. She's level 3 with the Minotaur. She comes in for that kill. And that's a great job by Ophelia to already get that short lane going for the Sandwraith, as he doesn't get the kill necessarily, but going to make some space for him to feel comfortable farming down here.
Yeah, as you say, it should feel very comfortable. I think when you have a Sandwraith as well, because he is relatively...
Stun going to line up there. There's the Judgment on top. The stun from Master Arms. There's the Desert's Curse. Vital Attack coming in from Master Arms. The Body Box coming in from the Minotaur. So they're trying to block the Joust here. He's going to block it with Ophelia, but it's not going to be enough for a kill, as the spells were still on cooldown and no mana up on the Master Worms or the Sandwraith for another wave of spells here. Midas going to get gone on by both the Glacius and the Bombardier. Will he be able to juke this spell here? It looks like he will not. He has the Elemental Warp, which he will actually use here to get himself to safety. So no kill happening, but going to force him to fall back to base as that rune was picked up by the Bombardier.
Yeah, so Legion have chosen to, sorry, not Legion, Hellborn have chosen to put Balthagor in the short lane and Bensington in the off lane. I'm not entirely sure about this. I think I would have rather have seen Bensington with the farm. I think he can do more and he can scale better. Like, yeah, Balthagor is great. You can get early start from the Master, you can get, you know, Abyssal Skull, Gnome's Wisdom, however you want to build the hero. But I do think that perhaps if they switch their lanes around, they can maybe profit a bit more with Bensington in the farming role. Are you with me on that, or do you think it is right to have that Balthagor as the position 1?
You know, it's a tough one to really say for sure. I have seen a lot of short lane Balthagor, and I will say, the fact that they're giving him the priority farm doesn't mean they're going to allow his snowball to kind of take over a little faster. They're definitely looking to push the towers sooner rather than later by getting him that extra lead in terms of his gold. And the trade-off here is that they're going to use the Bensington as more of a fighter, which they're going to actually get the kill here on the Sandwraith. Speaking of him, I kind of caught that one as it was happening, but Engineer getting the keg to follow up the Joust there. And Bensington is very good in the early stages of the game where he outputs a lot of burst damage, so they're utilizing him in more of an aggression type of role. And I think once they get the tower pushes kind of going, that's going to kind of recover his GPM if he does kind of suffer here. And that will be a way for him to kind of get the farm kind of going back. But I do kind of like the way they're kind of utilizing their heroes, at least in terms of the lanes, and I hope that they're able to, you know, once Balthagor gets to level 6, 7 kind of going, that they're able to kind of rotate up here and get those towers pushed down quickly.
Yeah, as you say, when it comes to Balthagor, you think about the tower push, and that's something I completely forgot about. I forgot how good he is at pushing, which means that they can try and take out the tower quite early, which will give them some roaming potential.
Yeah.
Going back to my point about the Gnome's Wisdom / Abyssal Skull, which of those items do you think you would prefer on the hero? Or do you think he can kind of skip them and rush like Staff instead? And PK maybe, or Spell Shot?
I don't think we'll see Gnomes. I think we're more likely to see Abyssal Skull on Balthagor just to kind of buff up his creeps and give that extra damage aura. But we have an engagement here in the bot lane. No, it's just the Sandstalkers from Sandwraith. Nothing going to come out of that. But when I think of Balthagor, I think of Snooki playing that one a lot recently, and he likes to go for Energizer and just be very, very aggressive with the minions and pushing towers and setting up ganks. So I almost kind of like that build nowadays with the Energizer. Maybe we'll see an Abyssal Skull on top of that, but I think I did see Shield of the Fi picked up. I think he's going for the possible Plated Greaves here as his first item, which will bulk up his creeps in terms of their armor as well. Midas gonna get the solo kill here. The airstrike gonna come out. Going to get the counter kill there. So nice airstrike coming in from Bombardier as Midas initially set that one up. He used his leap, or his elemental warp rather, offensively to get that kill, and that ultimately turned to be his downfall in going down. Cthulhuphon, he's trying to get the return kill here on the Glacius. Glacius came in with very low life from the flank. Cthulhuphon will fall as he was not able to get his trample off to get him to safety there. Balfour using that hell on Neworth, so they do it, make it a 1-for-1, but still a good trade as I think they'll gladly take the kill of Cthulhuphon, making space for this tower to possibly be pushed.
Yeah, I can't believe the Midas as he killed the Bombardier, which was a very nice play because he got the combo with the regen brew and he killed him. And then he decided not to sidestep the ultimate, which I think if he was to sidestep left, he would have been absolutely fine. Which is, I don't know, maybe perhaps a misplay, or he thought he would survive. As yeah.
Master of Arms goes down to the burst damage. This Engineer Bensington lane just very, very threatening in terms of its damage output. And Moa not having his shield just yet, only being level 5, kind of hurting him as the damage is just too much. Sandwraith not really one of those heroes that can assist, but speaking of him, he does have his level 6. He has Mirage ready to go. We'll see if he tries to line up a kill, possibly either in the top lane or in the mid lane, as we have Midas making his way to try to set up a follow-up to that trample with the transmute. We could possibly see a Mirage being used here in the next minute or so, but Bombardier, he's all by himself here in the mid lane. He's going to try to secure himself a rune here, as again, Midas currently up in the top lane, but Glacius and Bombardier in the area. We'll see if a Mirage does get used. Here comes the trample into the transmute. That's going to be just too much damage. Balfour cannot get his regurgitate or his hell on Neworth off, and we're going to see Bombardier looks like fall back possibly to the mid lane now. And Mirage still ready to go, so they can look to use that elsewhere.
Yeah, good rotation from Midas, I think.
Veiled Rod Ophelia, he's going to run into Sir Bensington. Here comes the Grip into the Minotaur stop. They have the lockdown to bring him down. There's the Desert Curse on top of the Acid Bomb there from Master of Arms. Ophelia's touch can be used just to heal up the creeps there, as he is level 7 with the 3 creeps.
Yeah, I was about to say with the Midas, I think once you hit level 6, level 7, like you just constantly want to rotate as much as you can, get as many ganking opportunities to kind of open up the space for the carry, and to also try and take out anyone, which is always possible if you have a second setup stun, which is like 2 different in this case. And even though Balfour is renowned as being quite tanky and quite scary to jump on, you know, if you've got enough burst damage, then you can take it down fairly easily, as we did see from their combo.
So speaking of Balfour, he's made his way down to the bottom, given space over to Cthulhuphon, where he's freely pushed this top tier 1 tower. Will they have resistance here in the bot lane? We have a Mirage going out in the mid lane. They gank that Bombardier with Midas. Here's a counter coming in from Bensington. He does miss the Joust following up that Nightfall. Will they be able to bring down this Midas now is the question, and that missed Joust is going to cost them dearly, as they're not going to be able to set up that kill. Transmute going to land there onto Engineer, and they're going to get the kill there. Will Bensington actually fall here as well? He does not have mana for a Joust. He's going for the turn kill, but Midas going to bait it out. And this is the most likely going to be a kill here on the Bensington. So 3 kills going their way. In the middle, double tap picks up for the Sandwraith, as Balfour actually engages in the bot lane. He does get the 1 kill onto the Master of Arms, but he does end up dying there. It looks like
yeah, it was
both the Ophelia.
It was
Oh, he
literally
got
like
the Ophelia kill.
it was literally like a 2-second long genocide. Sorry, it was like a 2-second long genocide. So yeah, wiped everyone out, and with the Hellborn lineup, that's the last thing you want, because you know your heroes are revolved around the early game particularly. So yeah, unfortunate, but yeah, heads up play from Legion, especially the Samurai, who forced in got 2 kills.
We have Bensington in the trees here. He's going to get spotted by the Sandwraith. He's going to be forced to joust away before Ophelia does catch him there. And this tower, I don't know if they're going to be able to defend it here from Golden Apple, as the Ophelia minion is just causing a lot of pressure. They're going to use the glyph here, but big picture, I don't think this glyph's going to be really used well. They're just going to delay the inevitable, as the Sandwraith actually last hits the tower there, feeling like he needs that Thunderclaw a little bit faster.
Yeah, Thunderclaw is probably going to go straight into Hypercrown. I think he can just snowball massively Hypercrown this game. And then Nullfire straight after is the perfect item against Hellbourne's heroes because they are so mana dependent, particularly the Balthagor.
Top lane, Hella Newer is going to be used. There's the Master's Call as Philifont used the trample defensively, but with the Shaman Cedric is just so tanky. Mirage coming out in the mid lane. And they get the kill there onto Benzington, who had his Joust currently on cooldown. So I didn't see how that Joust got used, but good ultimate there from the Sandwraith as they do get the tower in the top lane. Midas warping in, missing his combo here, not going to transmute up the Balthagor, but it's not going to matter in the end. As Sandwraith, I believe, ported in here with the TP. I missed that one initially.
Ain't nobody killing that tower but me.
Meanwhile, in the bot lane, the tower does get denied here by Bombardier, I believe. So tower's dying all across the board, and that's just due to Balthagor and Ophelia kind of having those battles with the two teams. But there's the Energizer picked up on Balthagor, so he does go for that early aggression style item. Now, one thing I will say is being a Balthagor player myself, I am a little bit against him maxing out the Regurgitate here over the Demonic Pathogen. I do feel like he should have allocated more points there to the Demonic Pathogen. Ophelia trying to get in range there for the stun. He is going to get initiated on by the Benzington, and with Bombardier here, the airstrike is not going to be enough to bring it down. He will fall in response as Midas comes in with the transmute. They do get both kills, but Ophelia does sacrifice herself there. As she ultimately does die for a 2-for-1 exchange there.
Yeah, so speaking of the Balthagor, do you prefer the what's it called, Demonic Pathogen to be maxed because it scales better in terms of having a longer silence? Or okay.
Yeah, the big one with the Regurgitate is you still get the 6 corpses, and it doesn't necessarily deal that much burst damage extra. Whereas the Demonic Pathogen, you get extra silence, the ability to spread that to multiple targets, which does ultimately lead to more damage drop. Now we have a Nightfall here in the mid lane. Midas going to get the Master's Call. No Ophelia's touch as he does have that still on cooldown, but he will fall after he gets the kill first onto Balthagor. So the legendary streak from SLASKEDYRET does come to Benzington. Gonna get stunned up here by Balthagor. Here comes the Mirage from the Sandwraith as he pours in. He's going to slow up the Bombardier, but no catch going to be happening here. Glacius, is he going to fall here? He gets the TP to see. Oh no, he actually did fall there, excuse me. They actually had the damage. I saw the port go through. I thought he lived, but he actually did end up falling.
Yeah, Cthulhu. Sorry, go on.
Nope. No, I was just going to say the tower falling to Cthulhu up there in the top lane as well.
Yeah, it's like the worst outcome for Hellbourne because you take a bad fight, you lose your second tier tower as well. So it's almost like you've lost a lot of space and you've lost gold in on your heroes. Yeah, to be honest, I don't see any way of them coming back now, unfortunately, because the heroes are so far behind, and the space from the towers that Legion have is going to open up the map a lot for them. Midas obviously has a post haste because he's aware that he can port to the lanes because the towers are pushed, which is a good idea. And then
engagement here in the mid lane. Benzington, he's going to initiate here. Felix touch healing him up as Glacius is the first victim to fall. Now Benzington, he's going to get caught out by the trample. He will fall. Energy field is down defensively. Mastermind's going to get kicked, and he will go down to that mine from Engineer. So it is a 2-for-1 exchange. Now Balthagor taking pressure from that slow of Ophelia, but looks like he'll get himself the distance to safety. But I don't see this push really being halted here as they're still looking to go in. Sticky Bomb is put onto Cthulhu as it will actually stun the Midas. Midas jumping into that stun. A little surprised by that, but Bomb will make the escape there as well.
Yeah, so it looks like taking up a bit of defense against Legion, which is good. Good to see they're not giving up just yet. The one thing I have noticed is Benzington is only level 7, so he's got 4 levels. Sorry, yeah, 4 levels in his Q, his stun, his joust, and then he's got 2 in his W. So he doesn't have any spells in his E, which is obviously based on attack range, which means that he can't really do too much in terms of damaging heroes in his team fights. Yeah, I mean, what do you think? Do you think that is the right way to go? Max the Q, just trying to get as much stun off as possible, or do you think he could have tried to farm a bit and gone for the E spell?
I think we always say the Joust maxed out from Bensington, as it increases stun duration and does a lot of burst. But you could argue having 1 point in the Heart Piercer over 2 in the Lancelong is correct. But yeah, as you pointed out, he's very underleveled this game, and he's supposed to be that scaling presence for his team. So I'm not really too sure at the playstyle that he's kind of adopted. He's just kind of sitting here. And when you play at Bensington, you generally want to be away from your team, farming across the map, similarly to a Sandwraith, and then ulting into the team fights. Valvegor, he's going to get initiated on here. He gets a sell out newer. Glacial Downpour coming out. Valvegor might hold his ground here. Sandwraith is porting in, I believe, with the Mirage. He is going to go in. Here comes the Desert's Curse. And Valvegor will end up falling. He will be the first victim of this fight, as Cthulhuphon is still tanking over his ground. Glacius, he's going to go down. Most likely to the Obliterate here from Cthulhuphon. Kexon going to land here onto Cthulhuphon. Do they have the damage to bring him down? Energy field is down, and Cthulhuphon, he's going to trample through the energy field. Will he go down? Yes, he will, but it will come at the cost of Engineer. Now Bensington, he's on the run. No mana for the Joust currently, as I believe the Airstrike not dealing the most damage there. Really lined that one up too well, as they only bring down the Cthulhuphon. But 3-for-1 exchange there in the team fight.
Yeah, 3-for-1. Just further extending their lead. Robust's only died once, so he's having a very good game himself. Yeah, not much to really say at the moment. I think the game is slowly kind of drawing out towards Legion's favour. But I've said that a number of times, so I'm not going to repeat myself.
Yeah, all of the top 4 farmers belong to Legion right now, so...
Yeah, having a few cores is really working out quite nicely for them. Having a jungler as well seems to be paying off. Yeah, so I talked about the post-haste, obviously took the teleports to the lanes and the active presence. Are you a fan of an early post-haste on Midas?
I think you made some good points there, since they took out all the towers. Just having the map presence available to him is pretty nice. But you could argue that takes away from something like an earlier utility item. Tablets, sheep sticks, storm spirits all come to mind when playing the Midas.
What do you? Sorry to interrupt, but what do you think about the teleports into Aphelia's creeps? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, that is a very good one. Midas combo. The Valvegor does currently have a sell on cooldown. He is going to fall here. He will get the kill onto Ophelia, but Bensington 3-for-1 fight. And even with Ophelia dead, she's still got, I believe, at least one of her creeps still there, so still able to fight a little bit. She's Sandwraith going to use the Mirage here. He doesn't pour it in, actually. SLASKEDYRET goes down to Bombardier there. I think energy field possibly causing some problems for them, as Sandwraith wasn't feeling comfortable porting into that. So a little overextension there by Midas, but they do get the tower killed nonetheless. And Sandwraith looking to steal away some stacked ancients. So this lead just continues to grow, BKB. We have a Nightfall coming in here, not going to connect. So they're almost kind of at the desperation kind of moments here, it feels like. Really trying to, connect the dots, but they're not really connecting. Cthulhuphon just freely TPing away here in the bot lane. So a lot of, missed opportunities here from Hellborn.
Yeah, the draft itself, just go back to the draft, like Hellborn's draft is good. I like the idea behind it.
I like the draft as well. I think it's a very solid draft.
Yeah, it just comes down to execution, it comes down to player skill as well, and Legions is just too high, I think, for Hellborn to really handle. A lot of it is experience at the same time, because Hellborn's players, I think, are relatively new to tournament play. Legion, how many tournaments have we seen SLASKEDYRET playing?
Robust in Iceland.
Yeah, Robust Iceland,
different guy too, as well as.
Yeah, from the days.
Yeah, I think he's actually ringing though. I don't remember him actually playing in any scrims or anything like that. But anyway, Bensington going to take some heavy pressure here. I think he's going to be fine. Never mind, he's going to fall. As the airstrike going to come out onto the solo Cthulhuphon, that's with a barrier rattle, so not going to deal the most damage there. And while this is going on, Sandwraith's just saying, hey guys, you want to have a fight in the mid lane? I'm going to push your tower up here, force you to kind of address me, as he does eventually fall back.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Kongos. Both Kongos are alive. I mean, we could see a quick token into a push potentially happening. But it seems like Legion are sort of playing back and forth. Okay, they're pushing a wave out. They're going to find the jungle. They're going to rotate. So they're sort of dragging their game out a bit, which is fair enough. I mean, they can play it exactly how they want to, but I think if they are to gather as 5 and just commit to a tower, I think they could take it.
Yeah, I think so. They have the Berry Rattle now and can feel the fun as well, which gives them a pretty big team fighting advantage. As we see Midas, I think that was a solo kill on the Glacius, not the hardest hero for him to kill, only sitting at 796 HP. But again, a lot of this goes back to Bensington. I keep glancing at him, and a lot of the times I see him just kind of either idle or not really looking to kind of boost his farm, which I feel like that's a big mistake when you play a Bensington. And I talked about it before, you always want to play kind of like that Sandwraith backer. Engineer here is going to fall, he gets his energy field off, but just too much pressure from the Legion side there. As we see Balfagor working on his Staff of the Master. I think he's got a couple of the pieces picked up there. So perhaps they're feeling like maybe they can win a team fight if they get the staff up of Balfagor. But I think it's safe to say this Legion's kind of becoming too big at this point. They're going to need a little bit more than just a stronger Balfagor ult. They're going to need more of those spells to kind of line up, being the Airstrike and the Nightfall. So perfect case scenario, they kind of line up all those spells. We'll see if it is enough. Midas makes the escape here as the Airstrike follows up that Joust of Master's Call, preventing that kill. No Ophelia's Touch being used as well. But speaking of Ophelia, up in the top lane, they get the kill on the Balfagor, so they're going to halt that staff being worked on there as they do bring him down.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but these Midas combos are not fully how they should be, but he does get a kill there, so eating my words a little bit, combos a Glacius, but I think I've seen quite a few missed ones, which is quite surprising for a player of that caliber. Maybe he's not too used to the hero, or he hasn't played it for a while, I don't know. I mean, I'm not here to criticise or anything, I just think it's unfortunate that he has missed quite a few combos.
Nice one there onto Bensington. Cthulhu tramples in, final auto attack enough. Bensington just continues to struggle here, 9 deaths now. Between him and the Glacius. As Midas going for Spell Shard, so he's not going for more of the utility, just kind of amping up his combo damage. Sandwraith, while this is going on, pushing the top lane with Ophelia. And I always find it funny to see, in these push versus push style of lineups, we have Arcane Bombs on both sides, so both sides doing a nice job of kind of picking up those items. But whenever Sandwraith's up here, the Arcane Bomb is definitely going to be a necessity. Not only against the Illusions, but also against the Ophelia.
Oh yeah, Arcane is so useful against Legion's draft. It's quite amazing really how the item almost then counters 2 of the heroes, but I think with how they're looking, even though Bombardier is doing relatively okay GPM wise at 420, so I'm actually quite impressed with that, to be honest. I think given the lack of space, he's farming very, very well. He's got good items, so he's got the pause key initiation, which I like because it gives him that ability to stun lock heroes if they're out of position. Yeah, to have the great utility item fits in with his stats and his damage based as well. And we'll see if they can set up a good ultimate combination with the Balfagor and the Engineer and the Bensington, obviously.
So again, still no Conquerors being worked on. That does surprise me. Especially having an Ophelia in your lineup, being able to kind of take that down quicker with the creeps and boosting up the damage there. But we have a team fight going, the energy field is down, Bombardier did die, he is back in the party with the buyback, yes, Airstrike ready to go. Balfagor trying to line up the slows here, so he did use his hell on. Midas gonna jump in, he gets the double tap, really coming to cost of his life, he will fall here. So it is a 2-for-1 team fight. Midas the only one to fall here. He does buyback immediately, has the post haste ready to go, so he is back in the party. Tries to line up the transmute there on the Bombardier, but not going to be successful. As while this was going on, BKB the top lane being pushed, so almost more of a distraction than anything. They get the first racks of the game, and we finally see an opening here in game number 2, as they're going to move their way over to the mid lane now, try to finish up the next lane here, as Ophelia still has the minions ready to go. So feeling very as well with team support. But a lot of the ultimates on cooldown here for Hellborn. They do have the Nightfall still and the Balfagor Hell on North, but he is currently dead for 25 more seconds. But I think taking a Nightfall in, not going to do a whole lot without any setup there, as he's going to be forced to use the Joust defensively, but he's still going to get caught there by the Midas, going down to that Transmute, and that will be the second Rax. Seed Boat comes out, BKB, and, well, a little bit of an anticlimactic finish here, but it is what it is. Game number 2 will be concluded here, and Donkey Kong will be moving on to the next round, which we already know who they're going to be facing. They're going to be facing Backdoor Protocol, who took the first series there previous to this one. So we got the upper bracket already completed. But any final thoughts here on the series, BKB, as we will shortly be moving on to our third series?
Uh, Not really. I mean, game 2 was a bit of a stomp. Legion just executed their draft better. Hellborn couldn't make the most of their heroes. But I think, you know, a lot of what that series came down to was, I think, quite a significant skill gap. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean it in the sense that we kind of saw how strong Legion were looking in comparison to Hellborn in that game 2. And I think that Donkey Kong moving forward will be looking quite good in the next round, and it should be quite a close series actually against Backdoor Protocol, who are also another very good team, as we saw. Yeah, not much else to add really. Unfortunately, missed about half the first game, but that's because we were in a different game. And yeah, let's go on to series 3 shortly.
Yeah, so this one's concluded now. We're going to go on to 6U, 4U versus Team Tim. That's going to be our third round 1 match. And I do believe we're going to go on a quick break here before we get into that one, but we will be back very shortly with our next series. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Go on a quick break, and we will be back with the next one.